Yo, 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 what is up, guys? It is your boy, Sammy Auto, coming at you guys with another video, another commentary over some Call of Booty Cheeks. That's what I'm gonna start fucking calling this game, Call of Booty Cheeks, because this shit just be ass all the time. But, anyways, on a more serious note, I do want to talk about something here. I want to talk about life and submitting to a 9 to 5 job, man, and my thoughts on it. But first, let me get the record straight. Let me make things clear, man. 9 to 5s are good jobs. I would in no way, shape, or form have ever clowned a 9 to 5 job. Never looked at anybody different from a nine that worked at a 9 to 5 job or that submitted to a 9 to 5 job. But for me personally, I don't know, just the idea of work giving a company that, whether you think so or not, whether you know so or not, or whether you just outright want to be naive to the fact, is that I don't feel right giving a company organized or an organization, whatever you want to call them, 40 plus hours of my life a week for what? Yeah, because you got the bills got to get paid, of course. But yo, it's the mere fact of they really don't give a flying fuck about you. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but most of the time, your company does not give a fuck about you. Your company will eat you up, pause, and spit you out before you can even fucking blink. It don't matter if you gave 1 day to them, 1 week to them, 1 month, 1 year, or 10 years. If you are become a liability, they deem you unworthy. Your ass is gone. Like, don't get me wrong. I don't want nobody to think, why, oh, this guy must be fired all the time, must be a shit worker. If you a good employee, you don't have these fucking problems, which is not the case. I am 27 now. I'm 20. I just turned 27 earlier this month, April, and I've had a decent amount of jobs. And every time I left a job, it was never on bad terms. It was always because the next job had a better opportunity, whether that came with more money, more hours, or better scheduling. Um, but I've only had one job where I was fired from. But I've been working since I was 16 years old. Every freaking job on my soul will take me back in a heartbeat. I've had managers. I had a manager willing to put me back in the department because he was like, "Yo, I fuck with you heavy." Like, I have really great work ethic. I've always been the type to go, pull up to work, do whatever it is y'all need me to do, what I have to do, and go home. I'm not really there to, be buddy buddy with everybody. Feel me? I'm not an asshole. Don't get that misconstrued. I'm a cool dude, but I'm not there to, I'm not there to really like be asking everybody, get into people's lives and business. I just do what I got to do and I go home. And I understand that, but a lot of people do not understand that. They really don't. And these companies just sometimes, a lot of the times, what I just said prior of me, I come to work, I do what I gotta do, and I go home, is still not enough to a lot of companies, yo. You can never miss a day of work, always on time, complete all your tasks, and still these companies will still try to take advantage of you if you do not say something. And I bring that up because I have my CDL. So I drive trucks. I've drove in concrete mixers, I've drove school buses, I've drove trailers, I drove city buses. And so one of my previous jobs, the one that I did get fired from, I'm telling you, this job, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the actual aspect of the job. I enjoyed the job, but I could not stand the people in charge of me. It was a small family business. So, small family, you got to be very careful of these small family businesses, man, because They be the worst ones. You think, oh, we all cool, we all no, they will be the first ones to chew you up and spit your ass out if you give them 1 ounce of a freaking problem. So I was there, I was working with them for like almost 2 years, maybe even 2 years, and just this entire time, even I should have known on the first day. I get yelled at for not knowing something. And that was a little bit of a culture shock to me because listen, I was in the Marine Corps. I was in the Marine Corps back in the day, once upon a time. That was the only time I'm getting yelled at by another grown ass man that isn't my freaking father or isn't somebody in the family. So you wildin' for that. And then prior to that job, I also worked at um another company that was doing the same thing. It was just too far of a drive. I had to drive literally an hour to there and then an hour back. And over time, that takes a beating on your car. That you got to be up stupid early trying to make shit on time. And even that, yo, that company couldn't even. They was like, yo, I don't know how you doing this, but you here on time every time, and you live so far away. Respect that company. I know if I called them right now, they would give me a job. Again, I'm just still too far away from them, so that's why I had to leave. So I ended up coming getting a job closer to home that was doing the same exact thing. And even my job before that was telling me, "Yo, we heard about that company you told us about. We heard they're really not the greatest of people. Like we heard they're assholes to a lot of people." But me, the naive youngin I was, the complete oblivious person I was, I said, "Yo, I've never." Well, I was like, "Well, I mean, if people have a, probably from people that just suck at their job or are just dumb. I never had a problem at companies. I've been loved everywhere I go, so I didn't think much of it. And boy, oh boy, like I told you, first day I got yelled at, and that's when it all clicked in my head. And from that day, and again, I'm a grown ass man yelling at me, that shit not gonna work with me. I'm If you trying to teach me something, yelling at me is the worst thing you could do because I'ma tune your ass out. But you know, you my manager, you my boss, so I'ma tolerate it because maybe you just having a bad day. This was one of the first times I'm meeting you. And I'm getting yelled at. Hey, I don't know your situation. Okay, maybe I was stupid. I didn't know. I never drove this type of truck before. My fault, boss. And even after that though, he did apologize because he even knew he was fucked up. But anyways, um, so yeah, so that situation happened. Everything was fine and dandy. Then they started getting stupid with me again, and I'm not a very confrontational person. Like I could take a lot. Pause. I could take a lot, but my problem is when I take so much of it. At some point in time, I'm gonna pop off on you, and you really not gonna probably like the way I'm gonna be towards you after that. We gonna be enemies after that. But I said, you know what? Okay, fuck it. I'm gonna swallow my pride. They pay me good. I guess when you get paid good at a company, maybe that's what it come with. I'm a young dude. I don't really. That's my first time getting paid some solid bread. This is my first time getting actually into like a career type of job. This is like the first start of when I, really started getting my career going in terms of like the CDL work. So there was a situation where another driver was telling me, this had to be some years back. He'd been here for a minute. He ended up telling me, yeah, one time they was on his ass and yelling at him. I don't really know what the reasoning was for, and they ended up making him cry. He said he got back into his truck and just was so. It's not like crying because oh no I'm sad. No, they crying because it's like yo, I know I can't really pop off on you because I have a lot of bills to pay. I have a lot of bills to pay. If I snap on you, you gonna fire me. I already know. So that's where I feel like that's what the type of keys they was holding over a lot of these drivers' heads, man. And then another driver had told me one time they got on his ass and he was just so angry, so mad, ended up making him like, his eyes was getting watery, bro. And after hearing story after story, I was like, I was like, yo, these is some good ass employees. Nobody's calling out. Everyone's here. We all cool with each other, and it was just breaking my heart the more and more I was hearing the type of people these people are. And I have a big heart, and if I fuck with you, I fuck with you, and I'm gonna ride for you, and I'm gonna defend you. You know what I'm saying? And I told one of the drivers, because I ended up asking him. I was like, oh, yo, why nobody said nothing to them? You know, why? I don't know how they didn't get popped in their lip by now, by now at this freaking point. He was like, yo, at that time I just bought a new house. I had a mortgage to pay. My daughters, I just had, I got two little girls. Like, I kind of need this job. And that's when it all clicked. I was like, oh, they taking advantage of that aspect of other people's lives. And that just didn't sit well with me, man. So, some more time goes on, of course, little things just keep piling up, piling up. I remember one time I ended up coming to a job site and I guess the concrete was a little too wet. He started spazzing on me, right? Started spazzing the fuck off. And I'm just looking at him. I'm just looking at him like he's stupid. He goes, oh, why don't you yell at me? Why don't you yell? Yo, I looked at him. I tilted my head. I said, you want me to yell at you? And he said, and walked off. I started laughing. I'm like, yo, these dudes is real life crazy. On top of that, he wasn't even finished setting up the concrete pump. So in the concrete industry, the mixing industry, there's a concrete pump where, you could just, for certain job sites, you just put the truck to the concrete pump and you just pour the concrete in the pump. And the guy outside of the other truck is just guiding where the flow of the concrete is going to go. So he was on that. So he didn't finish setting up that. That's a little process to set that up. Or it was either in that, and I think they had to still finish up a couple more things on the job site. And on top of that, I think I had two other trucks in front of me. By the time I pulled up to the concrete pump, my shit was good. I'm like, bro, I know what the fuck I'm talking about. Yeah, I've been doing this for 2 years now, with the job total from my other job and this job. So like, I got a decent amount of knowledge of what the hell I'm freaking doing. So that was kind of where the turning point started to be, where I was like, you know what, yo, that's it, enough's enough. They start to get more crazier with me. It's gonna be a problem now. Now you want me to yell at you. Now I know you want me to yell at you. So let's get it on. So so boom, right? Time goes on. I end up getting, they send me off to some job, doing a simple, easy job. They're building the house foundation, basement. I got sent to that job already twice, so this was my third time getting sent to that job. And I said, okay, first time they finished that, I finished that with them. I was like, okay, bet it's gonna be a basement floor they're gonna be doing. Basement floors, a lot of drivers, and I knew the guy who I kept going to. I know how he liked his concrete. So when you're doing the floors of something, guys like that shit. They like the concrete a little bit wet. It makes their life easier. They not pulling mad concrete all over the place. So boom, they're pouring the water in my truck, cause you gotta soften up the concrete a little bit while you're at the power plant. And I'm waving him off. I'm waving off my manager. And when you wave them off, that means that's the go ahead of like, okay, stop pouring the water. I'm good. I'm about to head out. So I'm waving him off, but I'm still looking. He's not paying attention. He's over there talking to whoever. He's over there talking to his family members in the office. So he's not paying attention. I'm looking at my meter, and I'm like, oh, bet I'm good. I don't really care. Like, this is more water for me. Bet. So I look back at the window. He's gone. I was like, what the hell? So I was like, all right, whatever. Boom. So I'm pulling out. And yo, this dude comes storming out the door. Flings open the door. Oh, I bet it's wet, right? I bet it's wet, right? I'm looking at him. I'm not saying nothing. I'm looking at my meter. I'm like, no, it's not wet. Oh, I bet it's not listening to me. I'm literally trying to tell him it's not wet. I'm perfectly fine. Ends up getting on my truck, gets in my face at the window, at the door, starts yelling at me. How about you use all these tools in here? Beeps, puts his head through my window, yanks on the horn, brr, brr, starts banging on the door, bang, bang, bang. And I looked at him. I didn't say a word. I just looked at him. I looked at him and I said, I bet. He got off the truck, right? And I said, you know what? And I said, you know what, me, the person how I am, I'ma still give you the benefit of the doubt. Maybe I am wrong. So I said, let me not spaz on you right now. I'ma go to this job site. And the whole way to that job site, I said, if I'm right, I'm coming back to that job. I'm coming back to the plant, and it's gonna be an issue. I get to the job. One, they were doing the basement floor. I was right about that. Two, he said, "Yo, make it wet." I said, "Bet." I was right about that. Three, I end up pouring the concrete. He goes on and says, yeah, add some more water." I said, "Bet." I knew what the fuck I was talking about. The whole time I'm pouring concrete. Mad. I'm mad as shit. And I said, "All right, bet. Three strikes. That motherfucker out." I go back up to the power plant, right? I storm. I storm right up in that motherfucker. Right? I get to the desk and I said, I don't want to name drop, but I said, "Ooh," I said, "Yo, the days of y'all yelling at me, that shit is over because y'all do a lot of talking and not a lot of fucking listening. I was right, you was wrong, you bitch ass." And in front of his aunt, in front of his mother, in front of his two uncles, I said, "The days is clipped. You want me to be yelling at you, and now it is." And I stormed out. And then he follows me out. "Hey, hey, hold!" Gets out, right? I stop. I stop at the street, and he's like, "Oh." I said, "What?" And I was cutting him off, and he ain't like that. He ain't like that one bit. Now he goes, and after I just told him, "Stop that yelling shit," he goes on and yells again. He goes and starts clapping again, and that's what set me off. And I felt his fat ass belly get up on my elbow. What? I said, "What?" Shoved him. One. I shoved him. I stepped back. I said, "What's up? What's up?" I was ready to pop off on his ass. But me, I'm not a bully. I'm really not a bully. And I understood. As soon as I put my hands on him, he put his hands in his pockets and shut up. And that's when I calmed down. And that's when I started spazzing on him. I started calling him all types of names. And, so ended up calming down, though. The dust settled. Still continuing my work for the rest of the day. And then that happened on a Wednesday, and Wednesday, Thursday, Friday came. They had me. I did the whole days of work, and I got paid on Friday. So I'm pulling back into the yard, and I see him holding my check for me. Everybody else is gone, so I'm like, "Oh, bet, word." I don't gotta go inside and grab my check. He's being a lovely fellow and just giving me my check. And then he gave me my check. And then that's when he was like, "Yo, hey, listen," and gave me the rundown of how, they don't want me there no more. So that's how I got freaking fired from my last job. And I didn't spaz on him at that time. I just sat there. I just took it. I seen his hands was shaking a little bit, so I knew he was a little nervous. So, he gave me my check. I gave him a handshake. I said, "Hey, you know, sucks the way everything went down, but I enjoyed working here, and I hope y'all do good." So, and that was that. And we parted ways, man to man. But that's how I got fired from my job. So, hope you guys enjoyed the little story time. Peace.